The Late Morning Program with Namarasa podcast.
Okay, Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining. This is the Namarasa podcast. I'm so honored to have Sripad Bhaktivedanta Siddhanti Maharaj. Maharaj, thank you so much for joining me on this podcast.
Thank you for having me here.
I know it's a bit different than what you're used to, but
Yeah.
it's really an honor. Maharaj, just like straight getting into it, you traveled so much in this world, right? You know, you're a traveling preacher. Every 6 days you're going somewhere. And what would you say is the biggest challenges devotees in this day and age face? Because I would say that the temple model nowadays is different from when the pioneering days of Krishna consciousness all over the world. Things were based on living in the temple, in the ashram. And of course, there's monks like yourself, sannyasis and brahmacharis, but the majority of devotees are living outside. So in that context, what would you say is the challenges that devotees face? And with those challenges, how to overcome them?
Very good question.
Thank you. Could you just bring the mic a little bit closer? Yeah. And yeah, great. Thank you.
So it's a very good question. And I do see when I move around the world preaching, devotees, especially householders, as well as brahmacharis also, they find so much challenge in developing their Krishna consciousness, as well as practicing Krishna consciousness. And as you said, earlier years, it was more focused towards the temple. There are many prospects to see this. But one thing I like to comment on this is, because of the current situations around the world, everyone wants to be in a comfort zone. We have to understand we are following bhakti cult. Bhakti is not something which is very easy or easy to obtain. These challenges, if we take them as positive aspect, that helps us in advancement of our bhakti. Just recently I saw one video, really got a very good insight from that. There used to be a bird, eagle, sorry. There was one eagle, and was not having enough, say, inspiration to fly. The master of that bird was so much sad. Why my bird is not flying like other birds? It's always looking here and there. So he employed a trainer. I'll give you money. Can you train my bird to fly? Trainer said, I'll try my best. And the best trainer. And he charged a lot of dollars for that. Failure. The master of that eagle was worried. Then all of a sudden, he saw a village man, a farmer. He said, that's so simple. I can train your eagle to fly. He said, how come? He said, very easy, just give me 1 day. He said, just 1 day? The best trainer in the world can't do that. He said, just give me 1 day and and you're going to see the results. And it happened so. The farmer just took 1 day for eagle to fly. And master of that eagle was surprised. How is possible? And he saw his eagle is flying like all other birds. Then he asked that farmer, what magic you know? He said, no magic. It's so simple. I just chopped off the branch of the tree where the eagle was sitting. That's all. When the eagle was in comfort zone,
Right.
he was feeling reluctant, hesitant. But you break that comfort zone, you start flying. Really inspired. This is a problem right now. Everyone wants to be in a comfort zone. And because of that, not so much inclination and interest or to follow some austerities or running for sadhu sangha association. You break that comfort zone, then you see. Like a person who don't know how to swim. The trainer just throw that child in the water.
Right.
It learns by its own efforts. So this is what I'm seeing. Householders, they're feeling very comfortable. Actually, Krishna consciousness is not for comfort zone. It might appear what I'm saying is silly, but there's a reasoning. We are taught, especially in our Gaudiya Siddhanta, Atashi Krishnamadi na bhavet grajindriyai sevan mukhe hi jivado swayam mein surte manaha. Krishna cannot be perceived with his senses. But when sevan mukhe hi jivado, when the senses, especially the tongue, is ready to serve Krishna, then Krishna manifests himself on the senses of the sadhaka, of the practitioner. So our goal is not to run after Krishna. The goal of Gaudiya Vaishnava is to make Krishna runs after you. And is there any evidence that Krishna says, I run after my devotees? Of course. Bhagavatam. Anuvrajameham nityam puyat renu angribi. Krishna says, I run after my devotees to take the food dust of the devotee on my head. So it's not in this way that we have to run after Krishna. Put that efforts, endeavors, give up that comfort zone to become uncomfortable. Very good to become uncomfortable, to make Krishna runs after you. Krishna consciousness is not to be always happy. Krishna consciousness is there to cry for Krishna. There are many other lineage, many other sampradayas. They promote, they preach. Oh, we have to be happy. Of course. But there is another level of that happiness, which is called crying level. Srila Guru Govind Goswami Maharaj used to say, crying school. Why Krishna sent Uddhav to Braj? To see the crying of the Brajvasis. And the Uddhav, who was so intellectual, direct disciple of Brahaspati, he saw all Brajvasis are crying. And therefore he paid obeisances to the dust of Braj. Asam oho charan renu jusham syam. So I'm giving this evidence from our literature, from Bhagavatam. Krishna consciousness is not to pray for, as I said in the beginning, comfortable zone. Krishna consciousness is there to ask for calamities. Evidence is Kunti Devi.
That's a really high.
So that's another level.
Right.
Why I'm pointing out these points?
Mm-hmm.
Because these points are our idols. We can't at this stage jump onto that level, but make this level in the head that one day we have to achieve this. Then, if we come to know this, then we strive for that. We work out for that.
Yeah.
That makes us uncomfortable. So to become restless, to become uncomfortable is very important in Krishna consciousness. And this applies not only for householders, for brahmacharis, for renunciates, sannyasis, everyone. Then restlessness, Sadhaka, practitioner, means one who's always feeling restlessness. So that also applies to grastas, as well as applies to, of course, to brahmacharis and sannyasis. If we are just happy in whatever we are achieving or chanting 16 rounds a day, chanting 16 rounds a day is the beginning of chanting, it's not the end of chanting.
Mm.
No. In early years of Krishna consciousness, we used to think chanting 16 rounds is ultimate. I mean, the day is done. But no, our acharyas described that's the beginning of chanting. 16 rounds is warm up. Is warming up to begin chanting. So we need this kind of inspiration. And for that inspiration, we need those sadhus, those preachers who can ignite that fire, who can give us this inspiration to go ahead, to march. And don't worry about other factors. That will come and go as the course of the life.
Discomfort or being too comfortable, what does that, when you're saying that we shouldn't be like that, how does that look, what does that look like?
So that look like is just I said, chanting 16 round, I'm done for the day, even though if I have time.
That's comfort.
Yes.
I see what you're saying, yeah.
So I have enough time to scroll screen to see my Facebook or Instagram. So the new generation, imagine, I was surprised in India. I asked a child, have you ever seen Shalagram? He said, no, I know about Instagram, not Shalagram. So they are more on
Krishna.
Instagram rather than Shalagram.
Right.
That's what's happening. Yeah. So we have enough time to scroll on the screen to see who liked, who shared my comment,
Yes.
rather than giving more effort to associate with sadhus. There's no scarcity of sadhu sangha at present day. There was a time when there was social media was not prominent, and devotees were hankering. They were crying. We want to hear. We want to hear. But now, YouTube, Facebook, everything is so much supply is there, and because of ample supply of supply, there's less interest because it's become easy. This is called comfort zone. It becomes easy now because Harikatha is full on Facebook. This preacher, that preacher, YouTube, Google it, Prabhupada lectures, everything is available. But before it was not. Therefore, everyone was struggling. And they were running after the sadhus to hear that. So sadhu sangha is so important. The solution for every problem. Sadhu sangha.
How do identify, because there's, like you said, there's so many oversaturation of talks on, YouTube and this and that. How do we identify a sadhu?
Identifying sadhu is also a challenge. Because general criteria is one who's putting on tilak and having neck beads and wearing saffron cloths is sadhu. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur says, Griye thako, vane thako, sada hari bale dako. No matter if you are renounced or if you are householder, that is not important. The important is how much you dedicated in the dedicated in the mission of Mahaprabhu. What's your contribution in the mission of Mahaprabhu? Some grasta says, oh, we are very simple, we are just working, a family, children, what I can contribute? You can contribute a lot. Why I'm saying this? Because general criteria is sadhus is one who is wearing saffron cloths, brahmachari or sannyasi, but householders are also sadhu. And on many examples, they are far superior than sannyasis. Yes. Is the intent is more important. In Krishna consciousness, intent is more important than the activities. Kicking on the chest of the Lord, no one can even dream of this. But if Bhrigu is kicking on the chest of the Lord, Krishna didn't took his offense because his intent was not to offend him. The intent was to glorify him. So what intent we are practicing or we want to practice Krishna consciousness, that's more important rather than activities. That's more important. So we have to be very, very careful and aware of the levels of association. The levels of association. Therefore, Rup Goswami Pad, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, Shri Srimad Bhakti Vedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj, Shri Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada, all acharyas, they always instructed us to be in a higher association. One who's in a higher association can see more far distance objects and can go into subtleties of the Gaudiya Siddhantas. So if we are associating with those sadhus, just like for in school, a child in the grade 1 is also called student. Child in the grade 9th and 10th is also student. Child who's going university is also student. And one who is doing PhD is also student. But they have different levels. So anyone chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, reading Bhagavatam is sadhu. But there are different levels of sadhu. So it's always advisable to associate with higher level sadhus. Higher level sadhus. Because only by associating with them we can go into the details and subtleties of the Gaudiya Siddhanta. If we are not getting acquainted with the vichar, with the subtle points of Gaudiya philosophy, it's so difficult to advance in bhakti. So difficult. And for that, we are blessed by Mahaprabhu that he sent his associates, the 6 Goswamis. And if we don't read the books of 6 Goswamis, which Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur made simplified in his bhajans and his books, we can't advance in bhakti. Very important to learn the subtle details of Gaudiya philosophy.
We see that in the context of Srila Prabhupada, there are many disciples who had very close association, but then as time went on, we see maybe they left or they stopped practicing or whatever the case. So I would say that they did get higher association because they took association of Srila Prabhupada. So how does one, what do you mean by when you associate with higher devotees? What does that association mean? Because we see that in that example, maybe they left bhakti. So what's the detail of how to associate?
One of very prominent disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada, Nitla Om Vishnupad Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Gosai Maharaj, he wrote one article and he gave a wonderful example. Any seed being sowed in the soil near to the Ganga, enhance its nature. The Karela, the bitter gourd, get more bitter.
Oh, really?
The mango get more sweeter.
Right.
Because of fertile land and all the favorable breeze or the water from the Ganga. Similarly, coming in proximity or staying close to a Mahabhagavat and being stubborn with one's nature, then more lust and more anger, more greed will develop. This is how he's explaining. The Karela, the mango, they get more bitter and more sweet because it's not submissive and still stubborn with its own qualities.
Oh, wow.
So if I approach a pure devotee with some other motives, my all other motives means motives which are not favorable to bhakti or Krishna, those motives or those nature will grow more by staying to a Mahabhagavat. Just like Ganga is so pure and powerful, pure devotees Mahabhagavata is also very pure and powerful. So more lust will grow, more anger and envious, all these qualities. Because of the reason I have not surrendered to them. Yeah. And I'm more confident on my attitude and my qualities. But when the point surrenderness comes, then there is no any room for my own personal attitude or my who am I? Nothing. That needs 100% surrender mood. Keep aside all my good or bad qualities. Let them choose what is good in me. I'm no one to decide this is good in me. Maybe that good which is in me can cause a trouble and become the cause of my fall. Let them decide what is good in me, because adoshadarshi, they don't see any defects, even though we are full of defects, and they take one good quality in us and engage us in the service of the Lord. This is called anukampa. This is called the mercy of Lord and His devotees. Shri Jiva Goswami, he gave a beautiful definition of the word anukampa. Anukampa means in English compassion. What is that compassion? Define compassion. So he said, anukampa cha purnasmin swasmin seva sobhagya sevakadeshu sevya sobhagya sampadaka bhagavad arthamai tad upkar ichha. That's the definition of just one word, anukampa, compassion. The meaning is, Krishna is complete, Mahaprabhu is complete. Similarly, the associates of Krishna and Mahaprabhu, they are complete. But when they exhibit incompleteness, that becomes the compassion of the Lord and His pure devotees on fallen souls like us. If they always assume, of course they are all complete, but if they always keep in head that I'm complete, will not get any service. There will be no expansion of pastimes. Lord Ram, he's complete, he's Maryada Purushottam, but he wants to go to Lanka. Can't he just cross over the ocean? Lord Ram, who descended from eternal abode Saket Dham to here, along with all his associates, is finding so difficult to cross over the ocean. And is seeking help from Sugriv, from Hanuman and other monkeys. What is this process called? This is called one who is complete, exhibiting incompleteness for the sake of giving pleasure to his associates. They drive pleasure and bliss by serving their Ishta, their worshipable, and seeing the pleasure in them, Lord drive more pleasure. And with this reciprocation of the Lord with His associates, what we going to get? Repeating their pastimes. That develops positiveness, and by repeating of their activities, will develop bhakti. And all this process is centered on one point, anukampa, compassion. Similarly, all associates of Mahaprabhu, let's say Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, my Guru Maharaj, and all other acharyas, Brahmand tarite shakti dhare jane jane. Each and every personality can deliver the whole universe alone, without any support. But then they say, oh, without you I could have not done this, without you I could have not done this. You helped me in my mission, you helped me in my publication, you helped me in that. They are complete, they alone can do anything. Yeah, but they want to pass on this seva to their disciples so that they can also get the mercy and the blessings of the Lord. This is called compassion. So we are very much blessed because those who are sincere, they took this opportunity to contribute something in the mission of Mahaprabhu. We all need to put this contribution, like in the break yagya, swaha, swaha. They are the one who are the head priests chanting mantras, and we are just putting some oblations in that fire. So I humbly request all devotees worldwide, no matter where you are situated, in whatever ashram you belong to, grastha, brahmachari, or vanprastha, or sannyasi, contribute anything in the mission of Mahaprabhu. Whatever qualities you have, or even if you don't have any qualities, just take any one single responsibility. And that one single responsibility will lead you to Golok Vrindavan, back to Godhead.
When you speak about the sadhus, we were kind of talking about this at the table earlier. We see that there are, at one point, there was many of the disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur on this world, on this planet, that we hear about from Prabhupada disciples or disciples of them. And then we think, the younger people think, oh, we missed that. We missed that association. What would you say to someone who says that? Is there no sadhus left, or are there sadhus? Are they just hidden, or?
There is sometime a period comes which is called dark period, when all great personalities, they disappear from this planet. But when I'm saying this, I'm not offending anyone, any sadhus or any preachers. All due respect to every single preacher who is working tirelessly to promote the mission of Mahaprabhu. So they are sadhus. But when I'm saying dark period, I'm speaking about that generation sadhus. So if you read their life history or their conduct, it's amazing. Amazing. I've seen my Guru Maharaj and many other acharyas. When I was with my Guru Maharaj, Shri Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj, so many of his godbrothers, the disciples of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, they used to come visit my Guru Maharaj because he was very senior, 101, 102 years old. So when they used to come and see my Guru Maharaj, we got little opportunity to also see them and serve them. Amazing personalities. Amazing. Can't see nowadays. Means I've seen that generation and I also seeing this generation. But there's a difference in the level of, I don't know the right word to put here. Their service mode and their dedication to their Guru Maharaj. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. Lot of difference. But what to do in the absence of? The question here is what we should do in the absence of, if we don't get a sadhu of that caliber.
Yeah.
My Guru Maharaj, when he was 101, many times when I was in his room, he was crying and weeping. And he used to say, in a very humble mood, my Guru Maharaj left this planet, Miss Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And mostly all of my godbrothers also left. I don't know why he has kept me here. For what reason?
Because he was one of the last to...
Yes.
Right.
And last, but he was one of the seniors who joined Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada in 1917.
Wow.
1918, sorry.
Wow.
Yes. My Guru Maharaj, he had darshan of Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada the day when Prabhupada was giving samadhi to Gaurkisha Babaji Maharaj.
Really?
Yes, 1915.
Oh my goodness.
And my Guru Maharaj, he joined the mutt as a brahmachari in 1923. On the day of Janmashtami, he got initiation from Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. And hearing lectures of my Guru Maharaj, many others the prominent disciples of Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. They joined after Guru Maharaj. Yeah. So one of the very senior disciples. But he's the one who's the last.
Wow.
And he stayed in this planet. So he used to lament a lot. What is the purpose of Mahaprabhu keeping me here? Why am here? My godbrothers have gone. My Guru Maharaj has gone. And I used to see him crying and weeping, saying this. Yeah. But then some of his younger godbrothers, Guru Maharaj, they used to say, we know the purpose why Mahaprabhu kept you here, to save this planet. Because Mahaprabhu always keeps someone to save the planet. The save the planet means not environmental protection, but devotional protection.
Right.
How the sadhakas will get nourished. So if a pure devotee is chanting and satisfying Lord with his services, with his pure name, everything in the whole environment gets so favorable. The earth feel, the sky, the direction, wind, they feel so delight. Because of this, all on the pretext of a pure devotee, we all get those supplies. So anyway, my Guru Maharaj, while seeing the situation, because he has seen the ideals of his Guru Maharaj, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He used to say, in future, I know there will be scarcity of sadhu sangha. In that period, make Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami your Shiksha Guru. Because Diksha Guru can be only one right. Who gives mantra. Then what is the significance of Shiksha Guru? Because in fact, both are giving initiation. Diksha Guru also gives initiation and Shiksha Guru also gives initiation in different ways. Diksha Guru gave initiation by planting the seed of the bhakti, Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Bij, in the heart of the disciple, by reciting the mantra in the ears of the disciple and planting the seed. But what Shiksha Guru does? He nurture that seed. Because what is the definition of Diksha? Diksha means Divya Gyan Yado Dadat Kurjasya Pap Sankshayam. Diksha means imparting transcendental knowledge. So is only the Diksha Guru who is doing that? No, even Shiksha Guru also does that. So they both giving Diksha actually. It's not only the Diksha Guru who give Diksha, Shiksha Guru also give Diksha. Sometimes the instructions of Shiksha Guru acts like a mantras, which can change the course of life, the understanding, and give us another level of understanding of Krishna consciousness. So Guru Maharaj used to say, make Kaviraj Goswami, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami your Shiksha Guru. Make Bhaktivinoda Thakur your Shiksha Guru. Make Narottam Thakur your Shiksha Guru. And when you're reading, take that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami directly speaking to you. Make Bhaktivinoda Thakur directly speaking to you. Narottam Thakur directly speaking to you. Make them your Shiksha Guru. Then there will be no any scarcity. You are protected under their wings.
Sometimes I hear devotees say that the Shiksha Guru, because in ISKCON what they teach is that Srila Prabhupada is the preeminent Shiksha Guru, similar to what your Guru Maharaj was saying about the book, reading the book, and then, but in that way, that might deter people from actually seeking a living Shiksha Guru, because that Shiksha Guru then won't be able to, the book can't tell you, oh, you're doing this wrong or you're doing this right. So is it important to also have, I mean, that's one thing to, read the books and things, but how important is it to seek a living Shiksha Guru?
I'm sorry for that. I missed that point. Also, my Guru Maharaj used to say this. I missed that point. He used to say, the best is living Guru, living Sadhu Sangha.
Right.
Living Sadhu Sangha. But that living Sadhu Sangha also have to be very high level. Not ordinary level, not our own same level Sadhu Sangha. That's good for sharing, but to advance, we need, higher association. Sujati ashe snigdhe sadhu sange satovare. Higher association. But what Guru Maharaj was saying that if you find in future no sadhu sangha, no higher
Right.
association, then there is no other way out.
Yeah.
You have to take shelter of these books,
Yeah.
the literatures of Kaviraj Goswami. So if Mahaprabhu is giving shiksha to Rupa Goswami with this vision that don't think that Mahaprabhu is teaching to Rupa Goswami. Through Rupa Goswami, Mahaprabhu directly teaching you.
Yes. Yes.
The Rupa Shiksha, Sanatan Shiksha, all that. Directly teaching to me. So take it personally.
That's what I think when I think about Srila Prabhupada coming to the West. I think Prabhupada, we're preaching and things, but I think Prabhupada came to preach to me. He came to save me and to preach to me. So I think I should take up the process more seriously, not just, preach to others and then not be so serious on the inside.
Of course, for everyone.
Yeah.
So let's say my example. I was only 5 years old when Srila Prabhupada left this planet, 77. So I never had any direct association with him. But my journey to Krishna consciousness it began by seeing that documentary of Srila Prabhupada when he was chanting at Tomsky Park in New York.
Oh, wow.
And that documentary gave so much inspiration in my heart. Who is this personality? And we were like young, like 17, 18. I was in school when I saw this. I got so impressed to see a sadhu who is selflessly preaching in the age of, in this advanced age, went to New York, America, Boston, and start preaching Krishna consciousness, and how he's doing miracles. And I'm also one of the hippie. I mean, in India, there's no hippie culture, but we're also one of the hippies who are intoxicated in enjoying material facilities.
Yeah.
So that's intoxication. So there's a gross intoxication, then there's a subtle intoxication. So what is my relationship with Srila Prabhupada? He is my, just like people say, hero of Bollywood, hero of Hollywood. He is my hero of spiritual life. I got so much inspiration from Srila Prabhupada. When he's saying, I am present in my books. And when I was reading those books, Life Come From Life, Easy Journey to Other Planets,
Yeah.
all these books. So I was a beginner. So when I was reading these books of Srila Prabhupada, I was taking this personally. He is speaking to me.
Yes.
So I'm not saying I'm a realized soul or whatever, but just sharing my emotions when I was reading those books of Prabhupada, and he told, I'm going to be present in my books. So when I was reading those books, I was seeing that Prabhupada is teaching me directly. So I was taking every instruction so personal to me. Every instruction of Prabhupada. So what is my relationship with him? I didn't receive mantras from him. I received mantra from one of his godbrother, Shri Srimad Bhakti Pramod Puri Goswami Maharaj. So if someone asks me, what's your relationship with Srila Prabhupada? What I have to say? He's my Shiksha Guru. And similarly, I have so many Shiksha Gurus. There's no limit of Shiksha Gurus. So many Shiksha Gurus. And I keep them both on the same level because they're both giving me Diksha. My Guru Maharaj giving me Diksha, Srila Prabhupada also giving me Diksha in the form of instruction. That instruction is life-changing. And that instruction, in a Vedic terminology, we say mantras. Sometimes one or two instruction change your life prospect. Like that.
Oh, that's really nice. You were talking about intention, how intention is sometimes more important than the activity itself. How do we, as sadhakas and in our bhajan, how do we develop the correct intention? Because it can be so subtle that we might think that we have the right intention, But then when we think deep down, or we reflect, or a sadhu tells us actually something, then we might feel like, oh, maybe I don't have the right intention in bhakti. Maybe I want something material, or I want some other thing than Krishna prema.
So you ask me the question, how to change that intention or what?
Yeah, how do we have the right intention? Because we can do bhakti for the wrong reasons so many times, right?
Yes, there are many people who take advantage of bhakti for different intentions. And then they become professionals with those intentions. We are not here to become professionals with those ill intentions. But yes, we want to become professional for good intentions. Everyone has to become pro for good intentions. The root cause of this kind of intentions is the ill intentions are not taking advantage of sadhu sangha. Sincerity is the most important factor in the life of a sadhaka. With the right intention, even while speaking Harikatha, right word, right time, right intention. If the intention is I want to become famous, then you're going to get famous. Of course, in this lifetime. But we're going to get far from Krishna. If he wants to make us famous, let him do that. If he wants to give me any qualities or not, then let him decide. Yasyasti bhagavad bhakta kinchana sarguniste samasto sura. Hara bhaktasya kuto mahadguna manorathe nasti dhavati bai. Yasyasti bhagavad bhakta kinchana sarguniste stara. One whose intention is pure to follow pure bhakti, which is also known as uttama bhakti, which is also known as nirguna bhakti, then the qualities of all the associates spontaneously falls on that sadhaka. Just with this point of my intent is pure, even though I'm not pure, even though I'm lacking in my practices, but my intent is pure. In the area of judgment, if Krishna is watching and is testing you are qualified or not qualified, that is his judgment. Let him judge. But he can't judge our prayers. He can't stop our prayers. He can reject, he can accept. That is free will. But he can't force us not to pray. We can pray. That praying is so important to have good intentions. So good intentions is most important factor. The worldwide devotees, I'm not criticizing anyone, self-judgment. What is my intent of chanting? What is my intent of speaking? What is my intent of hearing? What is my intent of service in the temple? What is my intent of becoming a pujari in the temple? It matters a lot.
Yeah.
So remember the words of Krishna. No one can cheat Krishna. Krishna says, Ye yatha mam pravadante tam sada bhajamyam. Reciprocate you proportionately.
Yeah.
But there are other factors. If you go more into this philosophical point, there are many, many levels. This is one level. But hara abhaktasya kuto mahadguna. How can the good quality falls on a sadhaka if one is always riding on the horse of one's mind? And if horse has no check, No one. So horse can go in all directions. There is no check on that horse. So mind dwells in all directions because there is no check on the mind. How can the good qualities fall if one is always running with the urges of mind? Not possible. This shloka gives the intent. Yasyasya bhagavad bhakta kinchana sargunesthe samasto swara. Good qualities, of course, not the good qualities, but the qualities of the associates falls on that sadhaka whose intent is to serve Krishna. But haro abhaktasya kuto madguna. How can the good qualities can come? If one is always wandering with the mind directions. I want to go this direction, I want to go that direction. There is no direction. Therefore, the best means is Mahajanoje Gata Sapanta, following the footsteps of the Mahajans. What Guru Maharaj said, what Prabhupada said, what Acharya said, don't try to deviate from those. Follow exactly as it is, with proper understandings.
On that last point you just made, there can be different interpretations of what the Mahajan said. I can interpret it, I can look at it this way and think they said something, and I'm thinking I'm following as it is. And someone's looking at it from this way, thinking I'm following, seeing as it is. So how do we understand that there are different interpretations of what the sadhus say?
Why there's difference of interpretations is because of their personal realizations or their personal pastimes with the Lord. I'm only speaking of the pure devotees. They have personal realizations like Jiv Goswami, Vishnu Chakur Thakur, Shri Sridhar Swami. If we read their commentaries, we see some very subtle differences in there.
Yeah.
But as our acharyas describe, in a very simple example for the audience to understand, same wine, different bottles.
Right.
And also circumstantial. Just like Vishnu Chakur Thakur, Rup Goswami, they establishing Parakya Bhav. Jai Jai Ujjvala Ras Sarva Rasa Sar Parakya Bhave Jaha Brajete Prachar. This is what we sing every morning. Parakya Bhav is so important. So Rup Goswami, understanding the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, in his writings everywhere, Parakya Bhav, Parakya Bhav, Parakya Bhav, which seems like condemned in this material world, but which has so much praise in the spiritual world. Everyone wants that. All the Shrutis, the rishis from Dandakarane, even Uddhav, he prays. He's praying to get the dust from the lotus feet of Shri Radharani. She's crown jewel of that Parakya Bhav. So, Jiv Goswami is writing something else. If we read Gopal Champu, which elaborate the 10th canto Srimad Bhagavatam by Jiva Goswami, he's showing Sakya Bhav. So, many people in those days pointing out to Jiva Goswami, you're not following your Gurudev, Rupa Goswami.
Wow.
Because he established Parakya Bhav and you're saying Gopis and Radharani, they're Swakya with Krishna. Swakya means married. To this, Srila Bhakti Thakur, Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Prabhupada commented, no, Jiva Goswami, what he did is time, place, circumstance. People were condemning Krishna. They're criticizing Krishna. And why, if they do this, what's going to happen? Hell. To save these people to going to hell, he introduced Sakya Bhav. And many other reasons. So what I'm saying is, we see little difference in the words of or interpretations of acharyas, but they all speaking the same language and the same words, same language but different words. There is always a reconciliation.
Right.
There's always a reconciliation to understand, but we have to see from the upper level. If we always try to see from the gross level, not possible. It has to be in a subtle level to understand why he said and what is the interpretation and the different words of the acharyas from different level.
When we talk about intention and we talk about bhakti, there's also the point of mercy. What role does mercy play? Because we can make all the attempts that we can in bhakti. We can chant all the rounds, we can read all the books, we can have the right intention, but I know there's some aspect that mercy plays, just like in the Damodar Leela, when the rope it was like 2 fingers too short, and one of the fingers was the effort and one finger was the mercy. So what would you say is the role that mercy plays in the life of a devotee?
Coming back to the beginning of our interview, the mercy always comes when we give up our comfortable zone. If we are always be in a very peaceful, comfortable, and no worries, no restlessness in Krishna consciousness, no mercy. Mercy always comes when Krishna sees we are doing so much efforts. Like you said, 2 fingers short to bind Krishna. So mercy and efforts. Yashoda Maya was supplying all efforts. Mother Yashoda applying all efforts.
Yeah.
So Drishta Parishrama Krishna Kripyasi Swabandhani. First seeing the efforts of Mother Yashoda really want to bind Krishna, she's doing so much. Then Krishna accepted that binding. Before that, he was not ready to accept that. And there are many other commentaries on this. So, again, because we want to become comfortable, we say, oh, I want mercy, then I will do efforts. First, mercy. Again, this is a comfort zone. First, I want mercy, then I will look for applying some efforts. No, Baba. First, you have to apply efforts. Mercy is just present in those efforts. Because if there is no mercy, you can't even do efforts. The mercy is inherent in the process of efforts. And one should think, I am most fortunate. Krishna chose me to do efforts for him. Why rest of the world is not doing efforts? Why me alone? This is one form of, this is already a mercy that I am chosen to apply efforts to Krishna, efforts for Krishna. So mercy is already there. This is one level of mercy. Then there are many other levels of mercy.
Yeah. And on the other point of crying for Krishna, like you said, you quoted Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj. For me personally, I feel like I can't relate with that at all. I can't, like, I don't think I've cried as an adult, like an adult man. I haven't cried in like years and years. And for me to cry for something like that, I just feel is so far away. So how do I relate with that, with the crying part of Krishna consciousness? Is it that my heart is so stone? Is like how would I relate with that crying part? Because we hear that so much. The gopis, everything, all this, so much crying is involved for Krishna, crying for Krishna, but it's something so far away.
It's not that difficult to understand. It's so easy for even an ordinary person in a household life. If someone's husband or wife leaves that person, they are so attached, staying together 20 years, husband leaves his wife. Or she leaving her husband.
Yeah.
Nobody has to tell them that you should cry.
Right.
It just comes spontaneous. Because the relationship is there.
Mm-hmm.
And this is also with children and any other relationship to whom we are attached to.
Right.
So a training is not required. Going school is not required. It's spontaneous when there is attachment. So in this beginning stage, We don't know who Krishna is. There is no attachment. But we should have attachment to the processes cultivating Krishna consciousness. My chanting, my reading, my worship, my prayers, attachment to the process, the devotional process to cultivate Krishna consciousness. And if one day, if it is not possible for me to chant for some reason or the other, because if I'm attached to that process and I'm not getting along with that process, nobody has to come and teach me you have to cry. It just happens spontaneous. So crying is not a practice. Crying is not a practice. Crying is a spontaneous emotion which falls, not develop, which falls because of my attachment to the object of my worship.
Right.
And that object of worship for now can't be Krishna because I have no personal access with Krishna. But that object of worship for now is my Guru, Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, the sadhus. Try to make them the object of your worship and give up your life. Learn how to give life to a sadhu. Then you see miracles in your life.
Wow.
Because we do have access with them. Just give life, not giving your senses, not only just giving your thanks. They don't want your thanks, they don't want your flowers, they don't want your garlands, they don't want anything. They're very demanding personalities. They want your life.
Wow.
And that's the point where we feel reluctance. I can give you everything, Gurudev. I can give you flowers, I can worship you every day, but giving life, no, that's for my wife. That's for my children.
It's true.
That's for my house.
Yeah.
I want your life. They're very demanding. Krishna is very demanding. Mahaprabhu is very demanding. All his acharyas, all his associates very demanding. But I'm not able to satisfy their demands. That's my problem. It's not their problem. So giving life is important. So crying is not something which needs to develop. It reflects spontaneously when there is attachment. Many people have attachment with their car. And if there's a big bang in the car, what happens? Crying, depressed, because attachment, just with an ordinary object. So when this sense of attachment comes, my life, which is given to me, is a blessing, is a blessings to me. The life means not this breathing air life, Krishna conscious life, which is so rare in nature. How many people in the world, they're in Krishna consciousness?
Not many.
Handful. Krishna chosen me. I'm so thankful.
Yeah.
These are words. But the day when we realize this, no one can stop us crying. Realizing this fact, knowing this fact is different, understanding this fact is different, realizing this fact, it makes a totally different change. Then no one can stop you crying. It will just reflect.
I really like that point you made that we don't know Krishna at this very moment, but we do know our Guru Maharaj and our gurus to make our gurus is Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru, to make them our life, to cry, to learn how to cry. When we talk about chanting and reading, what's the correct mood to? We understand so much about chanting, how to chant and all that, but we don't hear so much about what's the correct mood in reading.
What's the correct way of reading?
Yeah. Because then we can read for, sometimes when I read, I think, oh, I'm gonna read this point and I'm going to impress someone with this point that I read. But that's not the correct mood in reading. Because that's just the intention of trying to impress someone.
So there's two ways. One is I like that point, I learned that point, and I'm trying to impress others with that point. Another intent is to, I really want to share this point. When we get a good news, we like to share with our friends.
Right.
So if I like a point and I learned that point, there are two different directions. I want to tell this point and I want to share this point. So telling this point is to impress, and sharing this point is that I liked, you will also like it. So let's together make Krishna happy. So it's so important, Prabhu. Intent of every activity, what we eat, how we chant, how we read, how we serve our Gurudev, why I'm approaching to Krishna, intent is so important. The base of Krishna consciousness is what is my intent of my services. Even to the point of, this is something high, taking a role of Guru. What is my intent of taking role of Guru? If that intent is very pure in nature, the intent is to serve the mission of Mahaprabhu. The intent is to glorify my acharyas. Then it's a pure intent. But if the intent is I just want to pose myself as a guru to become a celebrity, even in the movement, in Krishna consciousness, then all other intents going to start falling this intent. All other intents will be negative, negative, negative. Just like below 0 is -1, -2, -3. So as we go more minus number, that means more negativity. And above 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, more we go high, more positivity. So everything relies on your intent. Even your podcast.
Yeah.
What is the intent of the podcast?
It's true, Maharaj.
Just
I think
joking with you.
no, I think about that a lot. What is my intent? Yeah, totally.
What is my intent of speaking Hari Katha? What is my intent of traveling and preaching? It matters a lot. If I'm doing for myself or if my intent is really to serve Mahaprabhu, I'll be rewarded accordingly. Simple. It's a simple formula, cut formula. There's no loopholes in that.
Yeah, the 2 points that I'm taking away from today is that the comfort zone part, that mercy really comes when we step out of that comfort zone. And then secondly, the intent of our Krishna consciousness. Why are we doing the things that we want to do? It's 2 really, really important points. The comfort zone is such a difficult thing because we think that I'm doing all the correct things and so that's good and that's what I'm just meant to be doing what I'm meant to be doing. Not that if I do this like extra, because we can be really comfortable even within our 16 rounds, our principles, reading, checking off all the boxes of our bhakti practices and things. But going beyond that a little bit, just to show that I'm stepping out of my comfort zone a little bit.
Then we'll see advancement. The advancement starts from that point.
The 17th round, right?
16 is just warming up.
Right.
That means giving up that comfort zone, coming to the 17th and 18th and 19th and 20th round.
Yes.
That.
I think it has to do a lot with, personally, with the time that we're investing. Like you said, it's when we do Krishna conscious activities, it takes up our time. And I know you didn't say that, but I'm saying that when we do our bhakti, then there's a certain time that it takes. But then after that's done, we might want to do something else, like you said, scrolling or whatever it is. So it's a lot about how do we use our time effectively.
Very important. Again, my point here is, what is my intent? If I'm very serious practitioner, I will try all my best and all my efforts in learning more about Krishna consciousness. reading books of Prabhupada, reading books of Acharyas. I have, of course, I can scroll Facebook and things like that, but with a good intent to know,
Right.
to learn something.
But most likely it's not a good intent. You're saying that because you're very nice, but
There's a thing. And this is what is a problem at this period of time in the world, especially with the new generation.
yes.
When I was in school, college, we didn't have any smartphones.
Mm.
So there was no access.
Right.
But now it becomes more challenging for the young ones. Yesterday, a girl, after the program, she came and spoke to me. She said, how can you, what instruction you want to give to us young ones who are in college or in school? So we are young ones, and all people, all students around us, they are not devotees. How we can protect ourselves? I said, I appreciate your question, because you wants to get protected, first of all. You're not just getting along with the system. You're just trying to go off the system, and that's why it's challenging and struggling. But because you want this, that's positive, first of all.
Mm-hmm.
How many people want? Very few.
Yeah.
So she said, any recommendation? I said, yes. And I gave example of my own school days. It was challenge. Everyone is not devotees. I said, try to, whatever you hear or read, try, put your efforts to convince the co-students in your class, even if they are not devotees. She said, how is going to help me? I said, of course, when you're giving your efforts to convince them, you're actually not convincing them, you're convincing your own self.
Mm.
You're nourishing your own self. Because what you're going to speak to them is going to echo back to you that I'm speaking not to them, I also have to follow. And this makes you strong. So for the sake of making yourself strong, try to speak and preach to your friends, even if they are not devotees. If they become devotees on devotees, that's Krishna.
Yeah.
But it will make you very strong and convince. If you convince, you're strong. If you're not convinced, you're not strong. It's that straight.
Mm-hmm.
Conviction is... if you convince, you're very strong. And if you're not convinced, you're doubtful. That means you're weak. So that's the best way to save yourself, to make yourself strong by preaching to others. Whatever you heard, whatever you're learning. And then if they're going to counter question you, then you need to get more association. Then you go explore books, or you ask someone, your seniors.
Yeah.
So engaging yourself in bhakti, devotional practices.
Yeah. Wow. Well, Maharaj, thank you so much for your association today.
Thank you so much. I'm not a very good speaker, especially on the podcast. That's
No,
my
it was
first
wonderful.
time experience. So if anything good, that is all the mercy of my Gurudev. And if anything I have said wrong, mistake, that's my own, because I'm not a realized soul.
Thank you so much for your humility, Maharaj. And I wish that I could have sat at your feet instead of at the same level as you, but
That's too much.
it's just the way the podcasting works. But thank you everyone for joining. If you'd like to be in touch with Siddhanti Maharaj or see other classes of his, I'm going to put his, I think you have a YouTube channel, Maharaj, right? Where your classes are. I'll put it in the description. And thank you again, Maharaj. Really appreciate your
Thank you so
association.
much. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Krishna Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare.